Heat Seekers, we are back with your running back rankings in tier format for week 3. We had some bummers. Some of the big names did not produce to the level we would like to see in week 2, but week 3, we're looking for bounce backs, and let's get right into the video. Off at the top, these 5 guys we're going to see here a lot. Jonathan Taylor, down week in week 2 as the Colts got whooped by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Christian McCaffrey, we've seen some life from him, so that's good. Saquon, a down week after a huge week. Dalvin Cook, Austin Ekeler, these guys we expect to bounce back. Ekeler had a good end of game with a bunch of catches and receptions to help his fantasy value for week 2. But we expect these guys to all be consistent producers at the running back position. So they're locked into tier 1. Moving on to tier 2, Joe Mixon, big week 1, kind of a down week in week 2. Bengals have been struggling. We expect that offense to get better and Joe Mixon to have more touchdown upside going forward. DeAndre Swift didn't have the huge week 2 that he had in week 1, but he did get a great touchdown catch. If you've seen that replay, looked like he was going to be down about 15 yards short, I think, and ended up making some moves, kept his balance, and got into the end zone. Saved his fantasy day with that. Aaron Jones, huge week against the Bears, just productive on the ground through the air. He's going to continue to get a lot of work for this Packers offense, and with his availability in the passing game, matchups like Tampa Bay don't scare you off of him in this tier 2, ranked as highly as he is, because he can make up that production in multiple ways. Down here in tier 3, Alvin Kamara missed this past week. We got to keep an eye on that. Hopefully he's back in week 3. If he is, he's not a tier 2 guy. We're not seeing a lot of production out of the Saints running game so far. We've seen some bursts with Ingram last week, but we want to see Alvin Kamara getting more receptions out of the backfield. We need to see Jameis Winston check it down some more. Obviously, he had the turnovers, the interceptions last week against his old team, Tampa Bay. Hopefully he settles down and he works on using Alvin Kamara in that pass game to help open everything else up. And then that'll open up the run game. That'll help the pass game. Just keep defenses more honest. Derrick Henry, people know I'm not a big Henry fan, but I don't think I've ever seen him look this bad. Really. Not that he's bad, but it's just compared to the highs that we saw out of Derrick Henry, I don't get that same feeling watching him run. He's going to bust off some big ones, but he's been fairly inefficient so far. Titans offense couldn't do anything against Buffalo, so we can't really hold that against him. He did find the end zone, but Buffalo's really good, and hopefully he can bounce back. But right now, he's not a top 1 or 2 tier guy for me because he doesn't catch any passes. And when he's not being efficient and he can't get it going on the ground, it makes for a bad day for Derrick Henry. Here in the middle of this tier, guys that were written off: Montgomery, James Robinson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, all these guys, nobody wanted any part of them in the offseason. Montgomery looked great against Green Bay. CEH has been catching a lot more passes out of the backfield, finding the end zone, producing well in Kansas City. We love that offense. And then James Robinson, it seems like he didn't miss a beat, and he came back from this injury, and he is going to get the majority of the work, at least rushing wise, in that Jacksonville Jaguars offense. It's time that people start putting some respect on James Robinson's name, because he has been nothing but a good running back since he entered the league. This is his 3rd season. James Conner, Najee Harris, battling injuries. They're at the bottom here. Najee's not being used as much in the passing game. This was a concern I had if you watched the preseason running back tier video. I was really concerned about that Liz Frank injury and if he was going to get the checkdowns in this offense that he got with Roethlisberger, who could not throw downfield. So far, it has not been good. Inefficient on the ground, not getting as much pass catching work. Until he gets healthy, he's not a top 2 tier guy for me. James Conner was hurt last week and saw his backups, Eno Benjamin and Darrell Williams, get a majority of the work in the second half of the game. And if James Conner can go, he is probably higher in this tier because of the touchdown upside, even though Arizona hasn't looked great on offense thus far. James Conner is a must start. He is a running back 2 if he's healthy. I have him at the bottom of this tier because we don't know yet if he's going to go. So keep an eye on that. If not, I think that Eno and Darrell Williams, we don't know. They're probably going to split the majority of the work, and both of them could probably be flex options if you're desperate, but they are not on this tier for me on Wednesday of the week. Tier 4, just a bunch of guys that we don't know what the usage is going to be from week to week. And same as Tier 3, we've got Damien Harris down here at the bottom, who was injured late in that game. We don't know how severe that is, if he's going to be slowed by that injury or if he's going to miss this week or not. It sounds like he's going to play, but I just don't trust it. It didn't look good when I was watching the game. There is some upside there with touchdowns if he's good and he's full go. But if he's not, we're going to see Stevenson get a lot more work. I'm real just confused on this whole offense in New England and the way they're using the running backs and whether he's healthy or not and all of that. So I just don't have a lot of confidence in that running game right now at this point of the week. But the other guys in here, right? Rashaad Penny looked really good in week 1, not getting the touches that we had hoped. Kenneth Walker came back in week 2. So there's question marks there. Miles Sanders, we never know what's going to happen with him in that offense. Kareem Hunt, huge week 1. Week 2, not so much, as Nick Chubb had 3 touchdowns. This is just a tier where there's not a lot of solidified usage. Jeff Wilson may be the only one, because it looks like TDP is going to miss this week, which leaves him and Mason, and they just brought in Marlon Mack off of Houston's practice squad. So right now it looks like Jeff Wilson is going to get a lot of work while these other running backs are on the shelf. Down here in tier 5, it's a lot of the same, right? Devin Singletary, how much run is he going to get in that offense? Always looks good to me. Just don't know what the usage is going to be like. Dameon Pierce, we still don't know. He had some nice runs, but we got to see that more consistently. You know, Melvin Gordon's got to deal with Javonte. Cam Akers did get 15 attempts last week. A lot better than what we've seen in week 1, but still, I don't trust this Rams offense. Darrell Henderson was also low in tier 4, so neither of these guys are real high because we need them to figure that out or at least know what we're getting into every week when we put one of them in our lineup. Michael Carter, we saw Breece Hall kind of jump ahead of him after a week 1 where Michael Carter was the guy. So just a lot of question marks here. And Edmonds is a guy that would be higher. He would be in my tier 4. But as we've seen through the first 2 weeks, Buffalo is for real. And their defense is really good. And I do not want to start anybody against them if I do not have to. So that's why Chase Edmonds is here at the bottom. Last ditch desperation start for me. That is our week 3 running back tier rankings. If you enjoyed them, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss any others. The wide receiver video is already out. You can see that here. And if you want to watch the upcoming tight end and quarterback videos, you can go ahead and hit the playlist over here.